You already knew about it. Moment of time I found out about this, of course I was gonna yap about it. So, we have the FTC to come through, basically being like, "Hey yo, Genshin, we don't like what you're doing over there. So you know what? F you, we're gonna fine you $20 million." And essentially, it's not necessarily, effing with Genshin at all. And obviously, they hit this people with, the whole gotcha mechanic. What is the percentage of how you pull for this bitch on a bike? How do you pull for this shit here? What is the percentage? You fully got children and now you must pay. Why am I doing that voice? I have no clue. But when it comes but when it comes down to it though, it definitely is like, yeah, they're coming through because, oh, gotcha game and, mechanics, and, oh, you didn't pull for your 50-50, somebody lost, well, I should go ahead and violate you now, and, oh, it's an anime looking game, it's dedicated to kids and whatever, when I think that argument failed, and it's definitely as old as time, and obviously we know not every piece of 2D looking ass piece of media or anime aesthetic or cartoon aesthetic is aimed for kids. Like, I don't know how many times we gotta play this damn song, old man, but we already know that that's not necessarily the case. So why is Genshin getting sued? Legitimately, for really honestly no damn reason, right? And somebody could say like, well, the gotcha mechanics is not necessarily like thoroughly explained. Bitch, if you go to the banner and you look into the details, they clearly tell you, yo, this is the percentage, this is what's at stake, this is how things are gonna go when you pull, this is how it is when you start trying to pull for shit. They tell you in full blown detail, honestly, in a lot of detail that, a lot of people kind of go over their head, they go over and explain it. But when it comes down to it, they tell you, yes, this is how gotcha mechanics go. This is how the game works in our system, right? You get hard pity, you get soft pity, you get no pity, you get no titties. And that's just kind of how it is. And it's just like, how do you go about that? And then they say it's loot boxes, which it's not really a damn loot box. Honestly, none of the HoYo games have like loot boxes in the traditional sort of sense. Yeah, you could say, I guess, if the wishing mechanic is a loot box, then, with getting random characters and random items, I suppose. But in a traditional sort of sense, it's not really like a full-blown regular loot box like you would normally see like in Overwatch 1 or like in Apex or something of sort like that. You're not even getting the shit in a contained box visually. Like, you're getting it from an actual shooting star, which that's a whole nother thing that's kind of confusing, but still, regardless, that's just kind of how it is. But when it comes down to it though, they find, HoYoverse this money, and then essentially HoYoverse is like, well, go ahead, just pay it, because why not? Also, it's not like we're hurting for cash, because it's only $20 million. Bitch, we made more than that in our first year out here. So just to keep very much a stat, 20 million ain't worth nothing. And hopefully this will be the last time they'll get hit with anything, because what this shit screams to me, especially with the recent other stuff that's been going on and stuff that we talked about yesterday about, censorship and TikTok getting banned and stuff like that, this just feels like, hopefully the last FU to China when it comes down to the current government administration, because it's just like, yeah, they basically out there, trying to ban TikTok and all that type of stuff for really no type of reason. And when it comes down to it, it just feel like, yeah, they're attacking Genshin because it's a Chinese game. At least that's what it looks like to me, because really, of all the games you want to attack, Genshin is the one that you cheese on and try to hold down. I don't know about that one, Chief. Especially when you get games of our own American economy that is like, oh, you got like EA, right? That does equally terrible shit. You got 2K that is extremely egregious. And you get people like FIFA, and all those other games, but they don't get hit with anything, but you hit a Chinese game in this timing, this specific time that you're doing it. Like, you can't tell me that doesn't feel a bit weird. Also, you kind of went out your way to be like, yeah, Tencent is also a damn threat in a way, right? And then you also had people at the same time talk about Red Note and how they're gonna try to ban that. And it's just like, this is too much anti-Chinese shit here, and you can't tell me that it's not on that type of timing. This shit to me felt like a dang warning shot. What do I mean by that? If you look back in the past 6 years ago, when it come down to when all like the, you know, woke stuff kind of happened and all the type of certain people get into the gaming industry, ruining games and franchises, and all the studios dying off and stuff like that. The first shot was Senran Kagura kind of, you know, getting censored, you know, taking out the modes and such and killing off that franchise. And the reason why I'm like saying, you know, Senran Kagura was the warning shot was mainly because it kind of was. Like in 2019, we was like, wait, why is this getting censored? Why are they taking out the diorama mode? This feels a bit strange, a bit weird. Like, this doesn't make a lot of sense. And, you know, it just kind of was a weird ass thing that happened when 2 other Senran Kagura games came out and they didn't get any type of censorship. But this new one does. It's a little weird. Then fast forward to all the years later, we see all this agenda pushing. We see all this, you know, type of fat people that get into the industry that likes to ruin things because they want to put out their morally correct sort of, you know, ways of things and how their beliefs and other systems kind of infect the gaming industry and such of things like that. And that's kind of what it's been for the last 6 years. And the start of it felt like it came from Senran Kagura, at least to me. But then you see, you know, something like this going through with this current administration, if they had more time, definitely you can kind of tell that, yeah, they would probably just try to ban everything that is from, you know, anything that's overseas. And that's the reason why I brought it up in yesterday's video, basically because it just feels like if it's not American based product, we don't want your F ass over here. That's what it feels like that they're trying to do, or what they want to do, right? Now, granted, when it comes down to this next administration, with all that stuff out to come through, and who knows how crazy shit about to get, but it does feel like they're not necessarily going to go, or at least hopefully won't go hard as you know, this previous one, and hopefully, you know, things will have a bit of a turnaround. And I was watching even like a TikTok of somebody that's well versed into like how things will kind of go, and they were just explaining even with the TikTok ban, just like, well, when this new administration come through, the new guy kind of said that, you know what, they don't want to necessarily do all this stuff. They have been in talks with people in China, so, you know, maybe they could do something to kind of prevent TikTok from going away forever and whatever. And there could be something there, you know, and there has been talks and openly said stuff about it, so there is something there. So obviously you can immediately tell that, yeah, there is like not necessarily a, you know, a push to be like, hey, let's get rid of all this Chinese stuff. The new one is like, hold on now, we might have something here. We might can use this for some reason. Also, if you really think about it, why is the CEO of TikTok also going to, you know, be at the inauguration? That doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Because I'll be mad salty if my app just got dipped off, honestly. And who says they're going to have to enforce that app? And I know I'm talking about TikTok as well, but at the very same time, I just want to get you put into perspective where it's like, well, again, it comes from a specific region of the world, and I think Genshin also comes from a specific region of the world, so you can kind of put 2 and 2 together of why you think I come through with this sort of idea. And even if it's not correct, it's still something to kind of take notice of, right? Because again, if they had more time to just ban other things, Genshin would definitely be a warning shot. Because look at Tencent and what they have stakes in. Like, they have stakes in so many damn games, and if they were to ban Tencent just altogether, that's not a good time. I know people are going to be basically in the streets fighting, throwing hands and all types of shit, mainly because League of Legends got disappeared, or basically, like, you know, From Software got disappeared or some shit like that. We couldn't get anything of that, or whatever else exists out there, because yeah, it's not a good time. It just really wouldn't be a good time. And so that's kind of like one of the major things of why I think this is happening. It's not really the gotcha mechanic of what's going on and, who is it catered to. It's more so on the side of, hey, it's a Chinese based thing. Let's screw it over real quick and see how far we can probably take it, or at least give you a warning shot. Because the next time we get in here, we might actually try to, finesse the system and try to do something with that, which that's not necessarily good. Because certain groups of people are definitely pissed about the next 4 years, obviously. And so when it comes down to it, that doesn't bring in a lot of confidence I have for them to come back in some shape and form and do whatever they're going to do. That doesn't really instill confidence in people. And people are effing tired of it, right? We don't want shit to get banned. We don't want shit to get censored or whatever. We just want the shit to be what it is, and then we handle it. And as far as people being like, oh, the kids, they spend money on the game and they lose the money and then the parents have to deal with that. First of all, beat your okay, I can't say that, but whoop your kids. Damn, why do no parents do that no more? Whip the shit out of your kids. I ain't say abuse them, I ain't say beat their ass, but definitely whip the shit out of your kids, because obviously you don't do that. You obviously don't do that, right? Or better yet, if you don't want to physically do anything, literally take their consoles away, take their phones away, literally snatch their whole life away from them when it comes down to all the technology that they got. Because damn well you could very much save yourself the trouble if you just take their shit and enforce some damn rules upon their head, instead of sleeping with that other guy that you like to do like 5,000 times, cheating on your husband, and all that type of shit, doing drugs when you should be watching your kid, and all that type of stuff. People don't watch their kids no more, and it clearly shows with how crazy shit has gotten in the past few years and even beyond that shit. And if you're somebody that's actually like, playing Genshin or any gacha game and you're mad because you didn't get the character and you have a problem with spending, then that's your bum ass. Like, I'm gonna keep it very much a stack, and I might get flack for this, but if you have a gambling addiction, like a real deal gambling addiction, and you don't know how to chill off that, I'm not gonna lie, you gotta be a clown. You gotta be one of the more bigger dumbasses I've seen when it comes down to it, right? Because no one is telling you to spend money. No one is telling you to spend beyond your means. Even I don't, granted, because I don't have money at all. But when it comes down to it though, when I do have it at times and I just feel like, doing something with it, if I ever decided to, I'm not spending beyond my means. Mainly because, hey, I know I gotta do something with that later, or hey, there's something coming up that I might need to save some money for, because that's what a responsible adult does. You basically get people that has money and now essentially they spend their life away because they wasn't never taught how to be responsible. So basically you give older and more bigger children with money and now they just ruin themselves because of it, and then they blame everybody else for the problem, and it's crazy to me. But my point comes down to this, is like, really, Genshin really shouldn't have been hit with this. In fact, Hoyo shouldn't have really gave any money to, the government, if I'm being honest. But they did that shit just to be in compliance, so they can just hopefully get this out the way, so they don't have to deal with this shit anymore. And hopefully we don't have to see stuff like this, because if this were to go through in a worser way, this could very much mean that, hey, all gacha games can get banned. All types of content can get banned except American made content. And let's be honest, do we all want to be strapped into our seats to play The Last of Us over and over again and games like it? I don't want that shit. Or how about the government funded Dustborn game? I don't want to see that shit either. And when it comes down to it, again, what's even more baffling if you really think about it, you got games again like 2K that's out there, a game that you had to pay $60 to $70 for, by the way, now. And when it comes down to it, you gotta pay money just to get the game, and then you still can't necessarily, hoop some balls, shoot some threes, F LeBron's whole ass, I guess, like, armband thing, because you just like LeBron that much when it comes down to it, because you still have to have some risk in there for a game that you paid $60 and $70 for. Basically the same game that came out last year and the year before that and the year before that, just with different looking models of people. That's literally all you're getting when it comes down to these sports games, for the most damn part. Like, you can at least make the game look creative. Like, make an NBA Jam, make a NFL Blitz. Them shits were fun. But when it comes down to it, though, you don't get those people get in trouble or call them people out. No, it's usually people overseas. Let's F over the, the Chinese games because, yeah, China's just bad, obviously. We don't necessarily, see it that way, especially when people going to Red Note and learning some shit. Or let's go ahead and censor the shit out of Japan and all their games and whatever, because why the hell not, and stuff like that. Or, and let's just try to mix up stuff with Korea and their games when it comes down to South Korea and all that type of stuff. But, we don't ever touch our games. This is literally, like, so dumb. It's so dumb. You know what this is? Just to kind of end everything off. This is literally just, the Ed Wunsler from Boondocks. Like, there's one phrase that he said that always stuck with me about America that is completely true every single time. We're Americans. We don't quit because we're wrong. We just keep doing the wrong thing till it turns out right. Make it make sense, people. But that's really what I want to say for this one, because this shit is just so... There's so many factors into this shit, and it's like, you can't just look at it from, a gaming perspective. You can't just look at it from that. You have to look at it from what's going on around it, unfortunately, because, yeah, certain things do add up to be in this certain position, and it's like, yeah, it makes sense to kind of suspect this. Even if it's not the case, it's just timing. It just feels too... It's very specific to be like, yeah, there's this thing, and they all come from the same place, and you thinking that it doesn't have anything to do with it. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And even if I'm wrong, and even if I'm definitely like, maybe mixing things up or something like that, you can't tell me that there ain't some type of theory crafting going on here, So that's just kind of how it is, right? But that's, again, all I really want to say for this one, so hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe, hit the bell notification on the way out. Also follow me on socials, and let us know that it's the channel. Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until then, it's boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.